Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lune and I hope you're well, and if you're not, I hope you are well soon. So, recently I have been identifying more patterns within myself and within people around me. And these patterns, they speak to the humanity of people, of the physical world realities that we live in, and how they are structured, how they are set up, and how different aspects of it influence one another all the time. So I have cards out, but I really wanted to get into patterns specifically. Noticing your own psyche, your own mind, your own body, and how they all interact, even in your own soul too. How they each interact with each other, separate and together. Yeah. And the patterns of your own psyche. I feel you may be recognizing more triggers within yourself and around how you respond to very specific things, very specific scenarios, very specific types of people, types of energies, types of situations, right? And this is a normal thing. Every person has a unique psyche, and we have similarities, of course, but we have unique psyches based on our genetics, based on how we grew up, based on every single thing that is occurring on a day-to-day basis within us, each individually. So your brain, the way it is set up specifically, will never ever be the same as someone else's. And isn't that so fascinating? The way that the things you remember, the exact way that it fires, very specifically. Of course, scientifically, we have similarities because we're all humans. We have the same parts, same organs, all that. But I'm talking about the individual wiring that we each experience, and how we have conditions created from that then perpetuate specific patterns, behavioral patterns, triggered from those neural wirings, from those places. And again, I've been noticing my own triggers surrounding specific people, situations, places, energies. And what I've noticed is a growing capacity to be able to sit with them without shaming yourself for them. To simply observe the trigger, the pattern that usually occurs as a result of that trigger, and refraining from shaming yourself around it. Refraining from, oh, how interesting. You know, when people talk about spiraling, mentally, emotionally spiraling, usually there's a negative connotation with that. In this case, it is and it isn't. So, spiraling in my own mind is, from my perspective, is essentially something triggers something within you, and it sets off a chain reaction of responses, and then depending on your conscious responses to those subconscious responses, it can become worse, or it can become better, or it can, it depends on the individual, depends on the neural wiring, the complexity, specific circumstances. It depends on a lot. Again, very unique. Very unique. So your triggers, I just saw 4 on the clock. Your triggers, your patterns, your spirals are going to be different than someone else's, even if there are similarities. It's person specific. So let's think about different patterns that get triggered. They can turn into a spiral. They can feel out of control. So today I noticed, well, it happened yesterday for me, but I noticed a specific circumstance that triggered something within me from my past. And normally, right, I feel as if I am watching myself spiral and there's nothing that I can do. And in a way, that is true with where I'm at with my neural wiring, with the way that I am at this point in time. But if you can shift the perspective of, I will never be able to stop this. This is in control of me and defines who I am. If you can start to shift out of that mindset, it becomes a lot easier to sit with the trigger and the pattern. And this is where I think some people get mistaken a little bit. Just because if you get triggered and you engage in a particular behavior as a result. I want to give an example that isn't too dark, just for the sake of this video, but imagine maybe you have, this is going to be a really, really silly one, but we're just going to use it for the sake of not making this too dark. Imagine when you were younger, it doesn't even have to be you, just imagine this person in general, this imagined character, was when they were younger, they did a school presentation. And something very embarrassing happened during that school presentation. Maybe they stuttered on their words the entire time. Maybe they heard a couple classmates mocking them in the corner, and that left such an emotional impression upon them that they have trouble speaking to other people now, or if they feel that they are being mocked, even potentially, it may trigger that memory, that wiring, that when that person speaks, what they say doesn't matter, or what they say is embarrassing, or their expression itself is embarrassing, or is rejected by others, right? Or that they can't even get out a word because they couldn't in the past, right? So why would they be capable now, right? Those are the wirings that get imprinted in your brain. And so imagine that person is in a scenario where someone gives them some criticism regarding a project they're doing, gives them criticism regarding any form of anything that they create, that may lead to them being triggered, starting to believe that they aren't good enough, believe that they're doing something wrong, that this person is rejecting them. And even if they are, they aren't. That's not the core of it, right? It's they start to spiral from that trigger. But if you can become conscious of the middle of that spiral, of where it comes from, of the cause, even if you don't know the very core, because we can't, it's difficult to understand consciously what's going on subconsciously in our minds. It's a very complicated, complex thing. But if you can at least recognize that something in your past is triggering you in this moment, and your body and your mind are responding from the past experience, from what they are predicting. From a past, they are making a prediction about what is going to happen in the present based on a past occurrence. If you can pinpoint that, oh, I just got triggered, and this is what I'm doing now, and I'm spiraling. And even if you can't stop the spiral, it's okay. It's like just seeing at least the point of the fact that you are being triggered, and that you are engaging in a behavior, and it is triggering you. When you're able to accept, or at least recognize, because this takes time, right? At least recognize what is being triggered, the potential of it, just allowing yourself to be triggered to begin with, because again, it comes back to that shame. Oh, I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't be acting this way. But if you look at potential past experiences, or even just the vulnerability of the human psyche, it is very possible that your brain has a very valid reason for reacting the way that it does, the way that it is. When you can remove that shame, accept, oh, my brain is responding, my body is responding to something that used to be real or is being perceived as real, you can have a little bit more compassion for yourself in those moments. So even if you can't stop the spiral, at least recognize it. It brings you closer to being able to realize that there is the potential for you to be in control of your spirals one day. That's very beautiful. So, yeah. I think something else that has been helping me, or I've noticed in others around me, is the acknowledgement that we are not alone in our experiences. 11:11 on the timer. Again, because of the uniqueness of our minds, of course, we cannot relate exactly to someone else in the way that they have experienced things. We cannot. That is not possible. But when we recognize that we do go through similar things, and we all have brains, we all have bodies, souls, when you realize that similarity, you understand that everyone suffers. Everyone has a trigger or a spiral or anything that might set them off or might not, whatever. Everyone has something that they are battling, whether it is extremely dark, difficult, and deep, or if it is surface level. There is still always going to be suffering. That is a part of life. It's cyclical. So, you are never alone in what you are experiencing, even if your experience is your experience, individual from someone else's. There's still someone else suffering at the same time that you are. Someone who will suffer years from now, someone who has suffered years before you even came here. There's that relation that we have with each other that I think can be very grounding. When you begin to shame yourself, or feel you are shaming yourself for simply being a human, having a mind, a body, and a soul. So, Yep. You may find that there are more physical world expressions and reflections that are showing you your triggers and spirals, and giving you the chance to simply recognize them without judging them. And to know that everything that you're struggling with in your mind does not have to determine how you present in your outward world. It does not have to determine your behavior. It does not. So, that is my message for today. I hope that it reached you well, and at the time that you maybe needed to hear it, or just enjoyed listening to it. And I hope you are well, and if you are not, I hope you are well soon, and I'll see you in the next video.